Yo, Crawford, how you been, man?
Hey man, thank you. Honestly, I apologize. I was away last week, kind of had some medical things that I had to attend to. So welcome back. I'm back. You know,
Is everything good?
I didn't hear from anybody. So
Everything's good, man. Everything. No news is good news, man. We're happy to have you back, man.
Hey, well, thank you guys for having me back. It was shameful to be away, but how are you guys? I was listening. Got a pretty phenomenal guest in last week that had incredible insight.
Yeah,
becoming a better person.
I learned a lot. I learned a lot from Steve. A lot. I learned a lot.
That's what we're here to do, right? That's the whole purpose of the show. We're here to learn. We're here to spread information.
Super fast. That guy was, he's 30 years old, and he created a life specific to him, which was really cool. I have nothing bad to say about that. Like, nothing but good words. It really blew my mind that he was so young. This guy was 30.
30.
He already had control over, like, what was that? An airport hangar. That's the word that I'm looking for. To be able to do commercial radio or commercial videos.
I want to do commercial videos.
And photo shoots and all these crazy things. And he's building sets full time. And he's traveling full. Love it, man. That's the caliber of people that we're bringing on the show, and we have that caliber of person today. So we're gonna. Do you want us to call you by your guest name, or your artist name? You want us to go by guest name Spencer? But it's Taabu, so it's Taabu. And what's really cool is like this cat just went full time in music. So first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you.
But second, DriveWire was there first. Like, you're gonna be huge one day. I know it. And when it happens, bro.
Well, I should mention, you know, you are the performer here with the drummer when we see when Raz was
with Raz, yeah, for sure.
We should mention that as well, because from the videos that I've seen, and when we see you live next week performing with Raz, man, you're gonna the incredible show that you deliver is enough to want to just find out more, dig in deeper.
Cool.
So
I'm glad to hear that.
I had a cool moment. So I was watching you guys, and I'm a musician as well. And I was watching you and Raz do something where the song had been established already, but the beat for the song had not. And Raz wanted to do it live, and he was like, "Okay, I need you to give me a beat." And so you started doing one that was like super in Taabu style. You were just doing your thing, and I could tell that he didn't like it. And I loved it because no, but I'm so serious, because he was standing there and he was like, I can't do what I'm thinking over that. And so what he did, and it's going somewhere with this, he's like, okay, drop the hi-hats and the cymbal. You killed the cymbals and you came down and then he's like, okay, give me a little bit slower. And then he's like, okay, kill the snare, go mostly on the toms. And it morphed from like what I could tell he wasn't going for to what I could feel he was going for. Just watching, I was like, whoa, this is cool. But you, like, credit to you, man. It's so difficult to have your own style, and then someone else imposing their style onto you, and you to not even chill the beat. Like, you didn't. It was awesome to watch, man. I got chills. I'm getting them right now. Because I was watching it, and I was like, man, these cats are so connected on stage. It was really cool, man. So congrats to you. Like, I can tell you have a mastery of your instrument, man.
Oh, man, I love it.
That was cool.
That's the main point of playing an instrument, right? You gotta love it, and then you perform, you play the performance, and you love it so much.
You gotta do it. And okay, so I want to go ahead. I'm just gonna read. Like, you gave us this laundry list of things that you're working on, but I want to get it out there because you're pushing huge, vast amounts of content, and I believe that's how hard you have to push to win. So I like that, man. So. Cool. You produced a single, Wishy Washy feat Omega Mighty. I really like that, right? It's on Havana Mighty's newest record, 13th Floor. Havaya, sorry, I apologize. I spelled of wrong last episode, so they know. I really did, man. I spelled it with a V, so I followed.
No, that's good, man. That's cool.
So Toolman from A Tribe Called Red co-produces with you. Did you learn a lot from that cat?
Yeah, absolutely. He's like probably one of the most talented, down-to-earth, just respectful and humble people I think I've ever met, especially for someone that has the level of success that he does.
Huge.
He's just such a human being to me. He's not over the top. He's not, hard to reach. He'll come meet you right at the starting lines and tell you what's up. I learned a lot from him for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, I really respect that. And what's really awesome to me, this is a recurring thing that I've noticed. I don't know if you guys have ever figured this out. When I ask people, like, yo, what did you learn from that person who's really talented at whatever? It's almost never something to do, like, you didn't just give me a musical tip. You didn't give me a tip on producing. You were like, yo, this guy's attitude was so chill with people. He was so good. Like, that's what you said.
Yeah.
And it was a skill that was outside of what I was asking you about that you noted, which is, it happens so often, and I think it's really crucial. Okay, you remixed Creator Made an Animal, feat Boslin, for Juno-nominated Indigenous duo.
Oh, so we had a discussion about
Snotty Nose Res
Snotty
Kids.
Nose Res Kids.
I don't,
Yeah.
man, their name, it makes me feel weird on the inside when I say it. I'm like, ooh, it just gives
But
me
it
the...
gets people's attention
It
as
does.
well, right? It's
I'm
a
with
name
it,
that
for
you,
sure.
you don't forget.
Yo,
I agree.
when you remixed it, because I listened, how much, was it like, I didn't hear the original versus that. Did you change it massively? Like, if the beats seemed very, very taboo when I was listening to them, they were like, lots of like hi-hat, lots of...
Yeah, I did change quite a bit.
Nice. Okay, cool.
Remix it, you know?
It's
and
supposed
Yeah.
to be.
It's supposed to be
change it.
different.
Well, I think that's the thing. I hear a lot of remixes that are very, there's a very recognizable 4-on-the-floor kick drum, and then the rest of the mix is just pulsing in and out. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's cool, but it's just getting a little monotonous to me. I feel like it's been done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's the difference?
And
Where's
also-
the recognition?
Yeah,
For sure.
so-
And if you're gonna remix something, like, remix it.
Like
make
the
it,
original,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
If I want to
Just
listen
fall
to
in
the
line with a
original,
remix.
I'll listen to the actual one. So I'm down with it, man. I liked
For
it a
sure.
lot. I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to know
Thank
how
you.
much of it was you and how much was it, because I didn't hear the original, which was like so I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah, I would say it was probably like a 50-50 kind of thing. I wouldn't have been able to come up with what I came up with without their part,
Of course.
but I think, there's definitely some
Got you.
stuff there.
Heavily
There's
influenced,
some
obviously,
original
by the
Yeah.
Sweet. I'm down. You released a single, Want You Back. I think we're maybe getting that up. Yes, we are going to be getting that up later in the show. I really liked it a lot.
Sick.
It started. Was this the one that started really similar, like just like it had that like a, I don't want to say marimba because that's probably the wrong word. Was that song, or maybe there was another one that I heard from you doing? Maybe it was Feeling Okay.
Feeling Okay's got like a little bit more of a tropical vibe. That one starts
That's
with
the one
guitar
we're
though.
We are going to
Okay.
be playing both.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay, so you guys can
In the
decide.
hour,
Cool.
So stick around. You want to hear them.
Cool, I like it. Awesome. Okay, you're also currently performing live with Raz and Twin Rova. Did I
Yes.
say that
Bingo.
right? Oh my
You got it,
goodness.
you got it.
Dom's like over here, like giving me back massages, like whispering it in my ear, like it's Twin Rova, like it's like.
Man, it's Twin River Town Reaper. Like
This is the words like wildfires. The situation all over again. You
Well,
couldn't get it.
and also a band called Forest in Toronto. They spell it FXRRVST. But it's for a
That's
10 and a 5. There was something about the number 15. But when people looked at it, they had no idea that it was just called Forest, right? So,
Yeah.
that
Great
was
band. if you
It
want to
happens.
check it out,
Okay,
great band.
but you're also
Yeah.
working with Raz, who was a previous, I don't want to say client, that's definitely the wrong word.
Definitely wrong.
Guest,
He was a guest.
guest
He
is
was
the
a
word that
guest
I'm
on the
looking
show.
for. Boslin, Lex, Leosis, is it UG? Is that?
Yeah.
UG, okay, sweet, I said it right. And then a lot of others, which is awesome, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's like 9 artists that you're currently working with, which is a huge thing, the network. I want to talk about that, how you got the network.
Sure.
And then, you've been mixing, mastering, and producing for over 50 artists since April, and it's, man,
Since April, I would love to point that out.
that's like 21 days ago.
No, that was since 3 years ago.
Okay.
So it took some time. It
Yeah,
took
well,
a little more than a month.
Okay.
I wish. That'd be great.
I was
If
gonna
I come
say
out
this.
50 people first month, I'm doing
Gotcha.
all right.
But yeah, I'm sorry if I didn't specify
Okay.
the year, but
Okay.
No,
So
that's
that's-
why we're here. That's what we're talking. Right?
that's
We're
the
getting
resume.
answers.
For sure,
Get the
for sure, for
story.
That's the resume.
But Crawford just nailed it. What's the story? So where did it start for you? Like you told me on the walk over here, like music was 4 years old. You started getting into drums.
Yeah, I would say drumming kind of came first in my life.
Cool.
I couldn't tell you why I wanted to drum because I just don't remember. But I started playing when I was like 4. My parents were always very, very supportive of me. That's a big one too. You know,
It is, man.
unfortunately, a lot of
Making loud noises that aren't really musical at the start. Like, to
yeah,
get
for
through
sure.
it is painful. I agree.
Yeah, so they picked me up a little a little tiny like Westbury red drum kit when I was like 5.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you know, I had a lot of teachers tell me like very early on, like, oh, you know, I don't know. They would tell my parents. They told me this later, obviously not when I was a kid.
They're
but,
not gonna. Yeah, they're not gonna spread the message right then.
yeah,
there,
yeah,
but,
but they were like, yeah, I don't know, like he's really young, you know, you might want to be careful. You know, I don't know if he's gonna stick to it. I don't know if he's gonna really get there.
He's trying.
You know, yeah. But I just loved it.
like-
I guess I just loved it enough, and
Yo,
they
you
saw
stuck
that
with
in
it.
me.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
so-
you saying that because you just showed no signs of skill, or are you saying that because they were just like bad people?
I think.
Like discouraging.
I
you?
mean, it's a 5-year-old playing an instrument for the first time.
I've never
like, how
seen-
could you possibly show signs of
Dude,
skill?
I wasn't
in,
good,
in
man.
my
I mean,
opinion.
like Joe
I mean-
Bonamassa was one of the very few examples.
Well,
where-
Bonham, yeah,
I would
like,
bet you
yeah.
that he was actually bad at first too.
He had to have
I
been.
just think
You had to have been.
he got there early. He got there early
Yeah.
and he stayed doing it, which is really
He
rare.
was trash when he was 3, and he just
Man,
worked through it. You know,
listen,
he's
like I played guitar when I was 8, and I really sucked. Like really sucked.
But-
and then I felt called to.
But
do
did
it
you
again
love
at
it?
No.
Oh,
which is-
okay.
okay, yeah.
which is
Well, that
crazy.
sucks. That's not good.
Not only did I suck, but I didn't have a teacher. Like he was trying to make me learn all the music notes and all that stuff, and I just wanted to play like Nirvana. You know, I just wanted to play a song. But
Classics.
fast forward to 16, get back into it, start teaching myself something, and then I get a guitar that I could actually play. And I was still really bad for 2 years, but then I started to love it. Taabu. That's when I started, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
from then on, didn't matter how bad I was. Like
You
screw
worked
you,
through-
mom and
you
dad.
worked
I'm
through
getting
the
up and I'm
mistakes.
playing this thing.
Yeah.
And then I would get
Yeah.
home from school and go straight to it. Like, and then I kind of developed skill, and then it was from there. But this isn't
and that
about
was
me.
phenomenal.
It's
Just,
about you. Okay, so you're 4 years
So-
old.
It's
he's so
about all
good.
of us.
You get
it's
drums at
true.
You know?
That's true. It's true.
Dude,
Yeah.
we all start as seeds and end up as oaks. You
As
know?
oak-
You
it's
grow,
true.
you
I
get
mean,
fruit.
hopefully,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Some
yeah,
end up
yeah.
being just little saplings, and that's
Maybe
it. But
in the
no,
next
the oaks,
life.
man, the oak trees.
Oh, dude, don't even get me started about stopping growing at a sapling. Man. People do that. It bothers me.
It bothers
Okay,
me.
but you
Yeah.
did it. You did it.
Bothers
So
me.
5 years old, red drum kit. 10 years old, you're on stage. Like you said, drum doubling.
Oh, yeah. So I played, I think my first gig was when I was actually about, I'm going to say like 8 or 9 in a
Wow.
bar.
Wow.
And that was crazy.
Wow.
That was,
okay, hold on. Let's back
Yeah,
this
yeah,
up.
At
sure.
a
You're
bar,
8 years
he's
old.
8 years
Yeah.
old,
8 years
slugging
old.
his kid in.
You're walking in. Probably your parents.
Oh,
were
yeah.
with you. Yeah.
The
they
whole
had to
gang.
been.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
So they're there. They're carrying your stuff in. Was it a full size kid at 8 or 9?
So I actually got to the venue and there was a kid.
Oh,
Sitting
set
up
luck.
That's
there.
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that was the first gig in the world that I didn't have to bring anything to,
I mean,
which was a nice thing.
I feel
you
like
know?
they trust an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
You know?
yeah, totally.
Like you can't trust most. I've heard it from drummers themselves. How you can't trust other drummers sometimes by just here you can use my kit. Some people don't respect the kits. As
For
an
sure,
8-year-old,
for
I can
sure.
only assume you're looking at the kit and it's like,
Oh yeah,
at ultra
totally.
respect.
How
Yeah.
did it feel going in and you knew like under any other circumstances it's going to be 10 years before I can actually walk into this bar without being against the law?
I was thinking that. I was like, is this okay?
Yeah.
Can I
Is
get
this
a
gonna
rum
be
and Coke
okay?
to accompany
but
my
did
drumming?
people receive
Yeah.
you well? Did they like, oh, this is sweet. He's freaking 9 years old.
He was a kid. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a kid in the
Yeah,
bar.
yeah.
I
love
mean,
it.
so how it kind of came to be was my drum teacher at the time, Greg Santilli. Actually, I'd love to shout him out while I'm on here because he
Shout out to
never
Greg.
doubted me for a second, and he was the longest teacher that I had.
Okay, right on.
So, or mind you, I was getting taught from him for the longest
For the
period
longest
of
period of time. in your life,
yeah. And he was always like, "Yo, let's record today." Like, we did a little EP when I was like 7 or
Whoa.
something. It's hard to remember the exact ages of
Well,
everything,
you were a
but
child, right? Your
Yeah,
brain
yeah.
was still growing at such a incredible pace at that age. Like,
for sure. But he never doubted me. He was always so supportive. He taught me. He wasn't very, specific in terms of genre. We'd play
Just
like rock
jamming.
stuff. We'd play ska stuff. We'd play like
Nice.
more reggae influenced stuff. We'd
Yeah.
play, like anything from
just
like.
an upbeat Celine Dion maybe or something.
Man,
or,
whatever
just
it
anything
was,
that can
yeah.
jam, just to get a nice little beat going on the drum to help you learn.
Yeah, and then he I don't even know how it happened, but he found like an open mic night or something with a kit at the Underground in Hamilton, and we just went and we played a show together.
Hey, buddy, I signed you up. You know, I know you're only 8, but I think you can do it. You know, like
Yeah, I think I was either like 8, 9, or 10. Like either way, I
really
guess it
young.
was
So
still young.
young,
But
so
Sometimes at the open
Yeah.
mics, if it's like a family open mic, there can still be alcohol, but not like.
No, it's not really
I
pushed.
think Stacey's
Yeah.
the same thing where she like they make you leave at before like 10 or something. Was that
Yeah,
the
yeah.
timeline?
Fair.
Yeah. Okay, so first gig at 10, you're like way too young in a bar. You do this thing, it goes presumably pretty well.
I had a blast. Yeah.
Nice. So then you're hooked, right?
For sure. For sure. Oh yeah. I was hooked
His
like
face
when I
eyes
got.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I got hooked when like
Pretty
my
into it.
parents bought me that kit. I was like, this is something I just love.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about how good I was or if I was even good.
You just enjoyed the activity, the
Yeah.
ability to create. Was it about creating music at that point? Were you like hooked on making the beats, or was it just the activity of doing it?
I think a combination of both. I mean, it was cool to come up with stuff. Come up with drum parts that I'd never heard before.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like
Create your own fills kind of deal.
yeah, anything. Beats, grooves, fills.
I made that.
Yeah, it was a really, really fascinating thing. And I was like, wow, before today, this didn't exist anywhere else in the world. I mean, maybe it did, but you know.
It didn't publicly exist to
Not
you.
in
know?
your life.
Yes,
I agree
yeah.
with you, Crawford.
And I was always very fascinated by that, just in general.
And that really is kind of the whole idea of why creating music is so beautiful, because you can create, like you said, something that isn't in the world or that you've never heard yet, or that's something new to you or the people around you that you can share, and
Totally.
kind of, everyone bonds together over it.
Yeah, it was like inventive. It was almost
Yes.
inventive,
Yeah.
and it was kind of a language that, even like. So what did
Yeah, he's just
this guy's
giggling
just
over there. He's
losing
looking
it
at,
over
he's
here.
probably looking at
look,
Dom behind
Having
me.
this
Dom.
like
Sorry,
sentimental
guys,
conversation.
I really didn't mean to do that to you, but there's a really sad structure in this show that Dom and he's told me so many times, and there's an intro that was only supposed to be
we've blown
5
this
minutes,
by at
and
least
I'm
13
like, hey, what's
now.
our timeline? He's like, you blew past it so long
Yeah.
ago. So
Oh,
that's
no.
what I was laughing at.
We jumped the intro right
Sorry,
into the
sorry.
interview, so
We're
Okay,
still
all right.
working it out. It was
Okay.
good conversation, but that's why I was laughing, because like, my bad. Sorry, Dom. What do we got coming up on the music first, man?
So we got a lot of actually awesome music coming up. We actually got Raz and then Chaos after that. So is it?
Yo, check us out on DriveWire. Please,
It's
music,
chaos.
man. It's
All right.
chaos. We got Raz and Chaos.
Raz and Chaos.
Chaos.
See ya, Fari. We're back.
Dude, it's always a laugh at this point.
It has to be, man. Honestly, a laugh is the most inviting thing, and I've made more friends than I'll lose, and I'm just happy and laughing all the time. It's proven.
Yo,
It's
I dig
proven.
that. I've made
I'm
more
not gonna
friends
be
than
your
I've
friend
lost,
if you're not
so-
gonna make me laugh. Come on now, get out. That's crazy.
I know what is that?
You
What
gotta
is
bring
that?
joy to everybody's life. Right?
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about you as a human being, is that you're like ridiculously easygoing. And what's cool is that like people just gravitate to you. I don't really I'm trying to figure out what it is, because I want to do
Dude,
it
I
so
don't even
other people do that
understand,
to
man.
me, but
I don't
you're
even
just,
understand.
Dude, people love you, man. Like,
Just
you're
love my social
10 out of
presence
10
and-
on the hits for the
I'm
show.
not gonna lie though. Sometimes I'm not afraid to go there, man. I was at a concert, 21 Pilots concert earlier this week. I probably shook 200 people's hands at the end of the night, and I told them, I said, "Thank you for coming. Drive safe. Have a good night." And it was just as simple as that.
That's incredible.
And I made so many people smile just because I just wanted to reach out and talk to
That's
people.
this-
Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah.
just,
Isn't that what it's about?
It
love
is
that.
just spreading positivity. You
This
make
whole
more
thing's
people.
about-
Why would you ever want to bring anybody down?
Yeah,
I don't get
I
it.
agree.
The government, I don't get it. Just.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding,
Now we're Alex Jones. Now we're
They
now
took
we're-
away my platform, and now I have to use college radio.
Let's see it, Ari. That's hilarious. Okay, I want to get this thing back on track.
Welcome
and
back,
land this
DriveWire
train.
Radio.
We're gonna land this train. This is
We
DriveWire.
have Taabu
We have
in
Taabu
guest today.
in here.
in-house.
Okay. 14. Let's get to 14. Because
14-year-old.
cool stuff starts happening, right? You mentioned the nomination.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Hit that, because it's really cool.
yeah. So around 14. I think that was 2008. Anyway, in 2008, I think I was about 14. I was nominated.
It was a confusing time. bro.
Yeah,
I
man.
get
It's
it.
yeah, for sure. It's a crazy
Pay
year.
him to do sound things, not math things.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
When he was in his
When
early
he was
teens.
in his early teens.
in my early teens. Yeah, so I grew up in Dundas, which is kind of part of Hamilton now.
Okay.
I guess no one seems to ever know where it is, but
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know that.
I know where it is.
okay,
I know
yeah,
where it is.
cool.
Yeah. No, I got you.
But yeah, so the Hamilton Music Awards, a band that I was playing with my brother and Nick, our bassist, were nominated for Metal Recording of the Year for the 2008 Hamilton Music Awards.
Huge.
That's incredible. I'd say at that age.
Yeah, and
way
Drummer
to
of the
feel
Year
good.
in the same. Oh yeah, totally,
That's the
totally.
Drummer of the Year to follow that up, by the way, as you
was
just
crazy.
kind of mentioned. That's
Yeah,
huge.
man.
I don't even think I really had an appreciation for that. I didn't really understand the big deal.
Yeah, it
Like-
didn't creep in yet, right? It was still so new knowledge. It was like,
Yeah,
This
and
is-
I
this is
feel
huge.
like ego was such a thing. Like it was such a non-existent thing in my life. Like I hadn't really even developed an ego yet
well,
at all.
14-year-olds in 2008 were a lot cooler people, you know, with no egos. You know? It's just
Now,
like-
now you got
Do you-
10-year-olds
do you-
with like the biggest heads.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Do you think that like getting a nomination though made you recognize like, okay, maybe
This-
I
this
have
could
some
work.
talent?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Maybe I'm doing something right.
Yes.
I think
Cool.
you know,
cool.
even like any sort of recognition I would ever get, I used it more as a gauge of my progress and my the integrity of my work rather than to just put, you know, to boost my ego.
Yeah,
I
just-
think I was able to use that fuel to say, okay, I'm doing this right. Like, what's next?
What
You know, this is
the
getting
next part of the puzzle here. Yeah. If
Yeah.
I'm doing this right already,
where can I go?
where
What can I
go?
learn now? What, you
Yes.
know? Okay, so I'm doing that. Okay, you know, let's dig maybe deeper
Let's
into
dig
that. But
deeper,
let's go somewhere else. Try something else out. So
And that's a huge thing to recognize as well, because I feel like some people end up kind of getting to the rut, as we always say, where they get recognized for doing one thing right, and then they believe in their mind they're destined to do this,
Oh,
and this
yeah,
is what's
yeah.
going to work out, and this is working because it's giving me the recognition now, and then they focus all their time on that, and that doesn't play out, and they never actually expand off of what they had already known.
yeah, and unfortunately that can happen. I feel like when, you know, that particular thing that you think or even you know that you're good at, that well starts to dry up and you start to run out of inspiration or motivation or creativity.
creativity,
Yeah, creativity. Yeah.
That was great. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah. Anyway, I thought everyone was just gonna speed past that, like I didn't just mess that word up, but yeah, for sure, it can
Dude,
start to
I
like dry
spelled
up.
of wrong, man. No one can be. It's set.
That's
the,
rough.
It's, yeah, dude. It's set the golden road. Like you can't get worse than that. It's all good. No worries, man.
It's a new high score battle. Just kidding.
What? Okay. So what happened?
Oh,
like
man.
14 to 18. What was in there? Like
Hmm.
later teens. Now you're kind of coming into who you are.
Changing things a little bit, seeing what works. Where did you go?
I would say probably age 14 to 18 was probably the most difficult time in my entire life. A lot of things were happening in my life that were difficult for me to cope with, difficult for me to understand, hindering in the creative process. You know, so I definitely struggled a lot, I would say, through those years. But musically, our band that was nominated for that award in 2008
Yeah.
broke up. You know, just it wasn't really anything in particular.
Yeah,
We just
moving
weren't
different
really.
directions, just creatively differently at that point. in
Yeah,
time.
we were very young and like not really. We were starting to not get along so well, and you know, picking each other apart, and you know, it got a little
Our
hostile. And,
relationships are more valuable than what we're getting out of this right now. Kind of, I don't want to ruin these relationships with these people.
but
It's
Probably
even
more like I think you're an ass now that you treated me like that.
honestly,
out,
I
bro.
feel like it was more like we can't stand each other. This
Yeah.
is no
Really just
longer a
not
thing
gonna
that
work.
can
It's-
work.
Oh wow.
God,
Yeah, so my brother Trevor was always a very inspiring musician to me. He, you know, played guitar in the band that we were in and stuff. So I would say I looked at him and I saw him kind of recording and you know, I would say producing in the basement. I was like, oh, maybe I should just do a solo project.
Yeah.
I was very fascinated by that. So I was like, let's try that. I took a long break from drumming. I barely drummed from like 14 to 18.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I
that's
just
an extended time off where it's
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, it's hard to get back into it at the end.
It was
there,
weird.
but-
Yeah, but so I really focused on, honestly, I just all of a sudden I taught myself how to record guitars, you know. My brother helped me a little bit with that. I was programming stuff with, you know, with like I would record like keyboard single notes on my keyboard.
Yeah.
And then map them to like a click track in this free, awful software that I was using, and paste even lower. We're
even
talking.
worse.
Oh yeah, for sure. And actually, it was pretty sick for the time.
That's
But
almost like-
it
it's
was
almost like-
monotonous and like
It's like a
you know.
hard version of MIDI, right? Like just to give someone an idea, like
No, not
is it
even.
Not
sampling?
even.
I'm recording. So think about a piano melody.
Okay.
I would record individual notes, da da, and then I would paste it on an audio printed click track in my software.
Whoa.
Then record the next note of the melody, and the next note, and the next note, and the next note, and then layer chords and create chords.
Oh my
It was
God.
That's dedication, but that's
For
like,
sure,
That
but-
was you were after this. You were
Yeah.
after that goal.
Oh, you have no idea. Actually, yeah, you clearly do have an idea, but.
Incredibly long.
Yeah, and I would
process.
do that with drums. I would do that with guitars because I couldn't play guitar and I couldn't record drums, so I had to program all the drums that way.
love that.
So
That's huge.
Okay, I want.
Yeah.
I want to. Okay, I don't want to go on a long tangent, but I want to bring this back. One cool thing, I read a book called The Talent Code. It talks about how there are these talent hotspots for things like soccer and music and speaking and whatever.
Yeah.
And every single one of them follows the same process, which you just described, and you didn't know it. For the music one, for example, because I'm a musician and so are you.
yeah,
They teach these kids, like, imagine like a 7-year-old Asian chick with a violin shows up at a camp, and 2 weeks later she's playing the most insane pieces that are extremely fast, and people are like, she's shredding melting faces on stage only 2 weeks later. They never make a mistake because they go extremely slow. So what they do is on the first page, they're like, okay, we're gonna do these 10 pages by the end of the 2 weeks, but day one, we're gonna take 2 hours and we're gonna only play the first page one time.
Just
Okay?
repeating the same thing
So,
over and
but
over.
they never make a mistake. They go slow enough that every kid can get it very easily correct the first time, and then they do it again. But maybe they take
Little
only
bit-
an hour and a half.
little bit
so
faster.
it's so slow that as long as you're paying attention, you cannot miss. But they never let them practice wrong. Quote, practice wrong. Because as soon as you teach yourself, and I mess this up so hard with my arpeggios, when you're sweeping, there's a very particular roll with your fingers. And if you teach yourself wrong, you mess it up so hard that you have to reteach yourself right, and it's way harder. But if you
Right.
just do it right the first time, which is so cool because you're like the look in your eyes when you were telling me how long it took you to do this recording of this, like it's incredibly long.
yeah.
But you learned so well. Okay, these are the chords. These notes go with these notes. You understood the tones, the sounds. Now you're learning. Okay, no, maybe I want to record it a little farther away, closer. This part of the cone. This part of the cone. Like you start getting into that because you went so painstakingly slow.
Yeah,
But it
for
sucks.
sure, for
it's
sure.
Like it's like going to the gym or
I-
brushing your teeth. Like you just don't want to do it, but you gotta
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
do it.
See, I don't even know like if it was about understanding what I was even doing. I just think at that point I enjoyed it enough and I wanted to learn more about that process. And what makes a great song so good? Like that was very intriguing to me.
Yeah,
Like
what
why is that
makes this-
why does that sound so
yeah.
fantastic? You know, that
And this
Maroon
sounds
5
like a
record
bag
or
of crap. Like,
what's
the
going
difference?
on? Yeah, for sure. So I think from to kind of go back to what you were saying about that painstaking process. It on the outside looking in, yeah. Oh my gosh, how much patience did that guy need to have to do? But I didn't care. I wasn't
Yeah.
thinking about that. I
No.
wasn't thinking about wow, this is taking forever. I was enjoying every what you would determine as painstaking second of that. I was absolutely loving
love with
every
it.
second of
It
it.
wasn't an
I
extended
love that,
period
man.
of time that was work. It was an extended period of time where you were focusing on every individuality of it to make it the absolute best it could be.
Man,
For sure. And it was very overwhelming, for sure.
For sure. Well,
But
of course. Well, you're only what? It was 2008, and you're a little
Yeah, like
14,
17,
17,
yeah,
you know,
maybe
like
17,
18 maybe. So
Yeah.
even at 18, as much as people want to say it, we're still developing so much. Our mental game is developing a lot there. We can become overwhelmed very easily, and to find that determination to focus, huge.
Dude, I
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
agree with you more, man. When I was at Metalworks, I would be practicing. It really was like this. So I would practice, like I would come home from school at maybe 2. I would practice literally till 11, and then I would be like, man,
I'm really tired of practicing right now. And so I would go and I'd make myself some food, and I'd be like, well, what am I going to do? I'm kind of bored. And what would I do is pick up my guitar and play.
Yeah.
It was so. Caution, Crawford. I wasn't practice anymore. I was playing.
No, you were enjoying it.
But what was relevant was like, this is the thing I'm gonna do one way or the other. Like I just want to do this. It's like I can't explain that to you why, but this is what I want to do. And it might look, what you're saying is like, it might look painstaking from the outside, but believe me, I'm enjoying it while I'm doing it, or else why would I?
For sure.
Why would I be doing it if I wasn't enjoying it? Yeah.
So
well, that's a whole other issue, you know. But
did those individual albums, any of them take off, get traction? Did you get noticed?
no, I had people tell me to kill myself and that my music was garbage. That I was picked on a lot in school. I did not get any support from my peers with the music that I was putting out from about 14 to around 17. I think I started to establish some friends after high school. But
some people that enjoyed it at that point.
And not even enjoyed it necessarily, but just
encouraged you and supported you.
Yeah, and I think that and maybe. Yeah, maybe enjoyed it. I would say, I think people were like, oh, this is kind of cool.
This is cool, exactly.
Yeah, but that was sort of when I started to get into the electronic side of things. So I got Ableton Live. I moved on from my, the free
program.
Freebie, yeah, which is shout out to Audacity because
Audacity's huge.
Oh,
I
man.
did use that back in high school as well.
It was
That's
sick,
hilarious.
man. It was so sick. It was not, looking back, it's probably not the greatest. I remember you had to.
It was easy to understand. It was easy to kind of end up laying out. It was easy to set up the prod. Yeah.
It was a stepping stone, and without that stepping stone, I wouldn't be here.
Where you are, exactly.
So thank you to Audacity for the free software because
I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
I just stayed quiet because I actually haven't experienced it. I don't know it. But
fair enough.
That's fair.
But I'm down to if two of my bros say it's cool, like it's pretty cool.
It's cool.
Well, you're much past the Audacity point, my friend.
Yeah,
like
I guess
it's
I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
fair enough.
It's high school free recording software is what we're talking here.
On a side note, sometimes when you get forced to do it weird, you discover things that you wouldn't have discovered using Pro Tools or Logic just because you had to be creative. So I kind of sometimes like a little bit of a hindrance to figure out how to deal with it.
Man, and you really see like the anatomy of that machine. That like when you have to do it like that, or not even have to, but that's the only way you know how to do it. When you actually have the tools, you can just.
What you can create.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you can just fire through everything that took you, 24, 48 hours.
Yeah.
And you just press five key commands and it's done.
But it's so but going the other way though, somebody who's maybe a little more spoiled than you were, who got it super easy, who stumbles in and has Pro Tools from the get-go and just understands it as this okay, function F5 and Y button, and it's this quick click. If you don't understand how the bussing and the reverb and the compressor and the orders and the direction and what they're actually trying to mimic in the real world's hardware, I really think you're going to be less apt or adept at it than someone who you went the really hard way to figure it out.
To figure it all
all
out.
the details for sure.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I think really helped me with all that stuff is I think I started to get a feel for it, but I did go to school when I was 20.
Got you.
Okay.
So that was my next question. So school happened.
Where was the schooling?
I went to Music Industry Arts at Fanshawe.
Oh, this guy's a
London, I'm a
Fanshawe
fan.
cat.
Awesome.
Honestly,
Sweet.
most of the people that I've hung out with and gotten to know the last 3 years, almost all of them have been MIA people. Some of the nicest, friendliest, most communal group of people you'll ever meet.
I agree.
Yeah,
There's
a lot of great teachers in that program as well. A lot of great faculty.
Crazy.
And the studio spaces and everything. MIA people, it's a great program. Fanshawe.
Yeah, and you know what?
Said Crawford on the UTM campus.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean,
oh man,
I
you
don't
gotta.
know what
It's a
UTM
different school, man.
offers as
No,
exactly.
UTM's hard. You would be going here for the sciences or that. That's what this school's about.
Yes,
so,
it's more of an academic school.
I was messing with you.
Okay.
But see, I don't think it matters where you are or who you maybe should or shouldn't be loyal to. There's a lot of great educational
and we're so
programs.
blessed to be in a country where we have so many some of the schooling facilities and the programs we offer. Phenomenal.
For sure.
It's not
for
a competition, people. We all love each other.
I'm 100%.
That's
with you.
right. That's right. Well said.
Schooling, MIA, if I'm not mistaken, is a 2-year program.
Correct.
So
yeah.
that takes you to 22. Now you're producing with friends from the school. You've attracted a tribe. Where are you at?
So I would say like that whole time I was let's say I had my first year at Fanshawe, and then I did a lot of moving around because it was in London. The school was in London, obviously, but I grew up in Dundas. My mom had moved out to Brampton.
Okay.
So while I was in school. Yeah, so then I moved for my first summer, like in between my first and second year, I moved to Brampton. And I was getting worried because I was like, oh, how am I supposed to get a career out here? I don't know anybody here, and I'm not going to school. I'm not going to be able to make friends. So I mixed my brother's record.
Oh.
He was working on a full length at that time, and people were starting, things were kind of picking up for me outside of school even. I was, doing some international songwriting competitions and getting, I guess I would say, those forms of recognition that I kind of talked about.
The recognition and the opportunities.
Yeah,
Huge.
so I was like, okay, this is cool. I was nominated for some awards at the end of first year. And so I was doing a lot of work just all the time because I just loved it.
It was not even work at that point in time, right? It's just if you're enjoying it,
yeah,
it's just something to do.
And then I kind of started to dabble in like producing for other people and remixing.
Oh,
which is something I had never really thought about. So that kind of started to happen in my second year. Yeah, am I going too quick here?
No worries. I like
I almost
it. I
feel
just
like
want
there's
to ask,
so much to jump into.
Okay.
That we could fill our next talk segment
The word
about it.
producer is used a lot.
Oh man,
Yes.
Okay.
it's a really
So for you, I want to go into this because Because listen, I tell people at parties a lot, I can play guitar. But then when I show them, then they're like, "Whoa, man,
so
you
much
can
more
really
than
play
playing
guitar!" Like I
guitar.
literally
Yeah.
said that to you, but it's not until you understand what I can do then you're impressed. So when you're saying producer, what do you mean? Like, what are you doing in MIA that you're helping other artists do? What? Give them advice?
Okay.
Like record.
This is a term that is very misused, in my opinion, in the music industry. Producer.
Thank you.
This room is
Yeah,
nodding.
thank you for breaking the ice there with all the producers out there.
Yeah, I would say that I am never and will never and will not be a beat maker. That is not what I do. I don't make a beat and then sell it to someone and have them just do whatever. I don't like that. That's not appealing to me. For some people, it might work great.
Yeah,
awesome.
For sure. Like,
market yourself as a beat maker.
Yeah. He's not saying it's wrong. It's just not him.
Yeah,
you're not
I
saying
like to make songs. I don't like to make beats. I don't make beats. I make songs.
You make songs.
I wanna.
There's a difference.
I would say so because a beat might be sick on its own, but it's not a song. Well, I mean, song is again another
It's a he said, she said. Everybody has an opinion on that topic. Kind of deal.
But the connotation though is like the song is a finished idea, where a beat is a portion of it. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Not even. It's so convoluted because I would say like a beat, I feel like would be intended for an artist to do something vocally on it. That is why a beat is made, to sell to someone to have their vocal put on top of it. If I was making an instrumental song, that's not intended for someone to lay down a vocal on.
There's more structure to that. There's more of a build. It's more of a construction project rather than just...
No,
I would just say that it's meant to be exactly what it is. It's not meant to be marketed to someone to throw.
It's a finished idea. Yeah. It's a finished idea.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. The finished idea versus kind of something to sell too.
So production, okay, cool. I'm glad. So production to me is just like, try it like this. Having an artist in the studio, recording with them. Try it like this. Do this. Maybe sing it like this. Don't sing it. Rap it. Don't rap it. Sing it. Try this. Try this. And it may not work, but having two people collaboratively.
I say two minds are coming at one topic, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and establishing a sense of direction for what's best for the song, not what's best for the artist, not what's best for me, not what's best for anybody.
What's best for the
just make a great song with
Dude,
not
and sometimes sometimes you can get so wrapped up in your own work that perhaps the person who's looking from a different perspective can give you what you need to see around that corner because they're actually standing around the corner kind of thing. Like you can look around walls in that regard with the second person. Whereas if you've heard the same song, like literally 150 times today because I'm trying to get that perfect part in the middle down, you start to warp your own mind with it. Like you hear these, you get like ear games, I would call them, or like your brain starts to hear.
Oh
music.
yeah,
you know what I mean? It messes with you. So
for sure,
having that second person is super valuable. Okay.
We're gonna hop into a music break.
We're going to break. Okay, we got Feeling Okay by Taabu. We got The World Is Ours by 11 Past 1. And we got Prove Me Wrong by Russell showing up. Catch us on DriveWire. This is Carter Crawford and my man Taabu.
Wow.
See, I gotta laugh on this time. Welcome back, CFRE Radio. It's DriveWire.
I love you, man. You're awesome.
Hey, thank you.
You're
So
awesome.
I love you. That's why we do this
thanks,
together,
brother.
right?
Thanks,
We
brother.
love the people in this room. We
Yo,
love the
We
opportunity.
gotta get the story out about how it actually started and how we connected on that one time.
Hey, one day extra content. Check it out.
Extra
DriveWire Radio, Facebook.
DriveWire
I tune in.
Instagram.
I tune in.
Thank you. See?
Yeah.
Right there. We already got one fan. So
Wow.
boom. So jumping back into it, because as we said, we wanted to get to the the who, the when, and the why. Take it away. Like the questions. Niffin's got a book of questions, so
what's
it's
coming up now?
always
So we
important.
we kind of went from like 4 years old with the red drums to the
Wow,
now
good
I'm
memory.
10 and I'm rocking it out with I'm going into my first bar gig, and then at 14 I'm actually getting recognized by Hamilton, the Canadian Music Awards, best drummer, best metal.
Take a break, come
right.
back to it.
So you've got
Yeah.
stuff
Start
going
producing.
on. Now then you actually go into like a little bit of a dark time where you're not accepted, which I also had, which like I
think we all have as
in
teenagers.
The end, it makes
Yeah.
you a little bit stronger.
Yeah, it makes you
there's
stronger in
a
the
little bit of
end. If you're resilient,
depending on how you look at it, can for sure make you stronger. And then, so that's 18. Now you're getting into like, okay, maybe I'm making a little more solo stuff, more like electronic stuff. Music school hits. You're producing and giving your advice to other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, you started to get noticed, maybe?
Yeah.
Finally!
It's hey, when working damn ass long enough, let's get recognition.
That's literally the point. Okay.
I mean, I would say that, so like when I went to school, I actually started to drum again. So I was definitely getting asked to do session work, and can you drum on my project? Can you play with us live? Can you,
Yeah,
so I
do
did
the
some
whole
of
live
that.
performance aspect with the MIA group there.
100%. And
Huge.
so I started to do more of that at the same time as producing. I guess like when I got out of school, I think 22. I'm 24 now.
Okay.
So I got out of school when I was 22. Coming out of school, I was nominated for quite a few awards in my program. And I think I won 3 awards.
That's huge though.
It was amazing.
Was that the end of first year, end of the second year?
And end of second year.
So that's the big award show basically for the end of the 2 years. That's where the recognized get recognized. That's huge.
It was awesome. It was like I had an idea that I thought I was doing some cool stuff, but I didn't know that it was looked at so highly by my peers and the faculty, and
which are phenomenal people.
Yeah. So upon graduation there, I was getting hit up for work from people that I went to school with, and
Nice.
a guy that I went to school with named Mitch. He set me up with this company in Los Angeles. They're called Sundown Sessions.
Okay.
And
I've
they
heard of
were.
Sundown.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I say shout out Sundown Sessions.
Give me a second to get you where
Yeah.
I've heard it from, but keep going.
Okay.
So got connected with them.
Yeah, so I was doing some like freelance, just contract stuff from them. I was drumming on some records for people that I went to school with. Then I was losing it because I moved to Brampton, and I was like, how am I possibly going to get a music career going here?
Yeah.
How am I going to do that? So
I don't
now,
know anyone. I don't know any venue contacts or anything. Like, where do I
Yeah.
start the fire?
So you
And
said
the
you worked
gear.
on- you said the gear.
The
I didn't think
gear.
that-
I didn't.
I
even
get
think
out of school
that.
and I have so I bought some really, really awesome monitors off one of my teachers.
Nice.
What were they?
They're Focal Twin 6s.
Focal Twin 6s. You
Yeah.
like those?
They're incredible.
So we might
Shout out to Focal.
Check the link, maybe description. If we upload this, we'll do
Yeah,
some promo
yeah.
there.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so I got, but everything else, I didn't have anything. I had like Ableton, I had my 13-inch MacBook Pro,
MacBook
which I
Pro.
love to death, which I still use right now to this day.
To this day, the same computer.
Yeah, it's doing great.
Yeah, shout out quality of Apple products. I
Yeah,
suppose,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, for real. But so I just honestly, I got this cooking job at this Rogers building in
Nice.
like a cafeteria in Brampton. I was cooking, and honestly, my first project, my first paid gig, really, with someone that I didn't know, was a middle-aged Jamaican reggae artist, and he wanted me to produce organic, very rootsy reggae for him.
Like true
And I was like,
Jamaican reggae.
you know, Bob Marley style
Marley style.
reggae.
Oh,
And that was like,
jeez.
you know, that's very like organic.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot of, you know, you get into dance hall and stuff, you get a little bit more electronic elements, which is kind of where my background kind of, you know,
yeah.
dubstep and trap and like all that kind of
I
stuff.
think we admit that
But-
was what the early 2010s were all about. You know, it was
Yeah.
from 2010 to 14. It was really, that was the scene of
I
music.
definitely
Yeah,
have a
so-
Skrillex fascination myself.
Yeah.
He's my favorite producer.
I
Yeah.
was very happy with a lot of his stuff.
It's coming back
He's-
this
he's
year, people
amazing.
just saying
And
maybe, you know.
Deadmau5,
Yeah.
those are two
Yeah.
Dude, Deadmau5 is a phenomenal
Dude, the
guy,
song
man.
Strobe connects with me on so many levels.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Anyway,
coming
back to it.
this. So this middle-aged Jamaican reggae.
Reggae.
The
guy.
reason why I say that and I make those details known is because it was a very, very different project
Yeah, it
compared
was
to
different.
what
Yeah,
I was
hugely
used to
different.
working
I say
with.
outside of the comfort zone that I had grown into and willing to try and
Yeah.
make something else and create a different
Yeah.
bubble, so to speak, of
So-
comfortability.
Yeah, I was just very ignorant to that culture, that musical culture. I was like, how am I gonna, you know, Bob Marley and the Wailers I had on a tape when I was a kid.
What made you think
And-
you could do it?
Um,
Why did you accept on a real level? Like what?
because I told myself that when I got out of school, I was gonna say yes to every single
Everything.
gig.
Good
Yes.
man.
Good man. Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
learned
That's
that
the
in
attitude.
school. I learned that in school. Say yes to every gig.
Say
And I
yes to
remember
every
like thinking
gig.
like, every gig? Like, yeah.
Why? I don't want to
So,
play that bar again.
I
or
mean,
whatever, but
Yeah.
you need to. You should, right? Because the exposure, the ability to reach new
Man,
people, different
the
crowds.
ability to learn. Like here's a guy that I could learn so much from. And I did. He taught me so much. I was producing for like $100 a song. I was
Wow.
mixing, producing, and doing the masters as well.
And that taking that extra, like venturing down that path opens up so many different doors that you had never kind of seen before and never
Yeah.
really even thought about.
Yeah, and now I'm producing. Probably the majority of the artists that I'm working with now are very much like dance hall, reggae influence, you know,
Interesting.
Afrobeaty kind of like style stuff, which is interesting. I just
Yeah.
loved it, and I just kind of rolled with it, and I guess people like it.
And
So
you're
I've
good
just
at
been.
it very clearly. Like it you wouldn't keep doing it, and people wouldn't keep coming to you to get you to do it if you weren't
Yeah.
doing a good damn job of it.
I like to think so. I mean, you know, I was just having fun with it, and it was something. It was, you know, that style I really enjoyed. It was very danceable. It was very from the soul. It was very like, you know, it knocks, like it hits hard.
Nice kicks.
Did it go well? Did people receive it well? Did he like it?
He loved it.
Yeah.
There was a song I produced for him, and he called me one day, and he was like, bro, like when I got into the studio to record this, like I was crying. Because it was
Yes.
awesome.
So good.
And like I started like getting glossy eyes because I was like, oh man, like that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, thank you. That
You
means
know?
so much as the producer to hear that.
I was
As
like,
the-
what do you mean? Yeah, how could this possibly make you that emotional? And I was like, this is a cool thing to work with other people.
Yeah.
And I found out that people are willing to pay for a well-delivered and well-established product that brings their vision to life in a timely and professional manner.
Whoa.
And if you do that,
Whoa.
then people will. My rates from that project to now, so only in 3 years, have quadrupled,
Wow.
and I have more artists coming to
I
me.
don't
Still.
want to put you on the spot, but can
Okay.
you repeat that?
What did I
'Cause
say?
That was really
Oh,
good. So you
we
said,
got it recorded, but
yeah, man, that was amazing. So you said essentially something like people will pay you for a product that is already established in the marketplace.
Oh,
I'm actually drawing blanks. Like I want you.
people
Yeah, because it was good.
people will pay for a product. Oh boy.
That's timely.
Yeah, it's one
That's
of those things.
delivered in a timely and professional manner.
There we go.
Manner,
Man,
rather.
We're gonna clip how you said it because it
Oh
came
my
out
gosh.
so fluently.
it wasn't even something that you even thought about. It just genuinely came right from the heart and the brain. It just flowed. You didn't even think about it. You just
Can't
said
even
it.
remember it.
It was so good.
True. You said if people will pay you for a timely, well-delivered product that's already established, that gets their vision across. If
Right,
you can do it
right.
proper. I
Yeah.
love that, man.
It's
And
huge.
the next thing you went on to say when I cut you off because it was so brilliant was that your rates have quadrupled by now. 3
And
years
there's
later.
still people
So
coming
they
at you.
climb,
So
they
it's not
climb,
even
they
a
climb.
it's not even an increase in prices. It's just what you have started to value your worth to them, and they clearly see that worth and are willing to pay for it, if not more. Just saying. You know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I think that as long as I'm doing that job, then I feel comfortable eating from that money that I've accumulated
Yes.
from. But if I'm not the guy for the job, if I don't think that I can establish someone's vision and deliver them a product
You'll
in
tell
a
them
timely and
up front.
professional manner, I will not take their money because it's not fair.
Well, no,
that's just not a cool thing.
It's a dick move. It's a dick move.
And that is what I see a lot of beat makers do. They don't care about the integrity of the finished product.
They just care about that money.
You know,
and being
some of them
able to
do.
have-
Some of them do.
Yeah, not all of them,
For,
obviously.
for sure. But I see that in like the beat making, you know, and I use that term loosely
Very
as well
loosely, yep.
because, yeah. But I see that in that community a lot where the integrity of the work is not even a concern with beat making.
They just
It's
wanna
let
make
me
a
make
beat
money.
and boom.
That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
I don't even invest time or effort into projects that I don't want to see come to life. Even if someone is on a different sort of playing field as I am, if they're, you know, like they're making their first song right now, I'll be like, okay, well, yeah, I could take $750 for this production mix and master from
But
you.
I'm not gonna feel right about it.
But
'cause
that's not cool.
Yeah, I'm not gonna enjoy this. I don't like it. And the
Not-
finished work, not even that.
It's
Not
just
even
like
that.
don't put your energy and time into this yet. Work on your writing. You know, get your song sounding better. Do the stupid thing I was doing in Audacity with the cutting the
cutting the
triggering
beats, yeah.
and sampling one note on the piano. Like really try and establish like your vision and your message and you know, really just work on perfecting and refining your craft. And then you'll get to that point.
That's huge because as the individual who is, you know, they're coming to you as the like they want you to make it and produce, I should say, and you know, make it sound as good as it is in their head. You're straight up and
Yeah.
up forward about it. It's like, look, I hear what you want. I'm seeing what you want to doing, but look, I don't think it's ready. I don't want to take something that I don't feel personally ready to do. And then you spread the information, and you spread informative information even at that point where you're trying to help them.
I try.
Yeah, that's huge, man. That's huge because that's kind of what I say. That's what I see with Niffin as well sometimes, where some people will come to him and ask him, you know, about some you know music or writing or you know, and he will give them the explanation in detail to make sure they understand it. Because he wants them to be able to be creating better things based off of any knowledge that he can share and help them.
100%.
I want to relate this to you. So, do you ever do this where you give them too much? There was a girl.
There was a situation
a girl named
here.
Joy. She's awesome. I really liked her. But we were sitting just in the other room there, and she asked me, "How do you write a song?" Okay, so like,
45 minutes later,
look,
I'm kidding.
I studied at Metalworks. Like I'm not a professional songwriter, but I definitely learned a ridiculous amount. So, but I unloaded on her to a point where I was like, man, I think my level of knowledge and her level of knowledge were different, and I should have, like you said, that cat who joined you on your level, like I failed to do. Do you ever give them way too much, and you realize like, whoops,
Overwhelmed them a little bit.
You know what? I that's happened to me for sure in the past. I think now I've sort of been everywhere in that growing, you know, time. Like in that, like I have no idea, and like I have some idea, and I have a really good idea. So yeah, in that learning curve, I've kind of been everywhere. So I can sort of, when I talk to an artist or even someone that's not established and they're just curious about the process and they want to be creative and they don't know how to do that. Just like establishing where they're at in the learning curve and going, okay, don't talk to them about this. Talk to them about this. Or leave that out because that'll pop up in the future for them.
Is that because you know what's going to be coming in that curve? You know where they're at. Look, I'm not going to give you this. Like, let's put it in a level of consideration. I'm not going to give you level 8 information when you're only at level 3. You still have so much to learn before you even understand what I'm trying to. If I was going to speak to you at this level 8,
there's just no point of discouraging someone because
never.
No, like that's not cool. I don't like that, and especially if you roll up to a gig or roll into someone's creative, vulnerable space, and you overwhelm them with information that they have no idea what you're talking about, just so you can look like a hot shot.
And you feel good about yourself.
That's terrible. That's you're squashing their creativity. You're extinguishing.
On a bug almost.
100%.
I felt really bad too because I did not do it to inflate my ego, but she asked me.
He was genuinely
informing her. She asked me a lot of really pointy questions that were well done. So she got my attention for a long time, but then by the end of it, I'm like, man, do you think she took anything usable out of that, or do you think you just gave her so much? Like, I really think I had just been, look, when you write lyrics, the melody and the rhythm, if you just say the lyrics enough, should become apparent to you. Like, you'll find how you want to say it, and that's your rhythm and that's your melody. It's already built in. So that was one thing that I should have just left it at that, but she asked me a lot.
Did you elaborate quite a bit?
Yes.
I elaborated enough that I really think I shouldn't have, but I just wanted to ask you if you've ever done that. Okay.
Well, that's exactly it, though, because you were informing her on things that maybe she didn't find out in school, or things that she couldn't learn, or did not even maybe just missed or whatever. So it's always a learning opportunity.
But I think maybe I could have given it to her in a better way that would have landed. So that's something I'm working on.
But that's something.
Of course.
Because we don't have that much time, and you said this outside, and I really liked it. You said something like, you grow to the level you're willing to learn to, or it's like, that's a really rough caricature of how you're saying. It's like, man, you got to keep learning as you go along, and those things that you learn as you bud out then can like lead into other things. Like, do you remember where we were at with that?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what you meant by that?
Yeah. I think, as I was when that kind of came up, when I said that to you guys outside, I was sort of like, I was talking about how when I went full time, which was less than a month ago, I got a lot of texts, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls about, how did you do this? How do you eat? Like, how do you have a car still?
How are you living?
Yeah. And I think that the only reason why I got here is because every time I'm in a room of anybody, I immediately put myself in the seat of being the most unintelligent and the least sophisticated person in that room. I did it today as well. I'm here to learn from you guys. I don't know anything.
See, that's
and when
crazy,
you do that,
we're here to learn from you. So it's like.
We got a bit of a paradox. Is that? I don't even know.
Look, we're all learning from each other. That's the idea of the show.
There are things that perhaps you're better at, and vice versa, right? So
of course.
We can legitimately learn from one another.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you eat?
How do I eat food?
Like, how do you put money in your pockets to survive?
Exactly, sort of what I said earlier. I think like if
producing the
the things
the
like if you're looking at like the things that I do, production, freelance drumming, mixing, mastering, and DJing. That's just what I do.
That's fantastic, because that's the things that as you had recently said, you just quit your job a few weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, shout out to Long and McQuaid.
Yeah, fantastic.
Love that
company right there.
Yeah, for sure.
But you were at the point where you didn't need to work for somebody else to support yourself and make money off it, and that's a huge step.
Yeah,
it's entrepreneurial, man. So
yeah.
So you're a drummer, and then you have a little bit of production stuff that you're doing for yourself. How do you get the next gig? So how do you go from producing to now mastering, and how do you get, like, are you just simply talking to as many people? Is it only referrals? Is it someone saying, yo, I know you produce, but can you master too? And you're like, yeah, I can do it. Like, is it just simply saying yes to gigs? What was your strategy? Now
I've actually, elaborating a little bit more on what I said before with trying to educate the people that I work with.
Gotcha.
I've actually been able to say no to more gigs now because someone is just they just might not be ready to spend that money and to get the product that they're actually after. It's not gonna,
huge.
So a lot of it's just organic, like, cause I moved to Brampton and I just took a genuine interest in people. I just said, "Hey, how are you? What do you do? Where are you from?
Yeah.
I don't know anything about you."
Yeah, teach me you.
Yeah, and then working with more people, you know, music started to, I don't really listen to or just stick in one genre anymore. Music is just, I love music.
Love all genres.
I can't wait to get a country record. No one has gotten me to do a country record, and I'm
Yet.
like, yeah, man, it's like pulling teeth out there for a country record. But
There's so many country artists. How's it even possible? It's like all I hear is country on the radio anymore. God dang.
it's the best. I love country, but you know, so like, definitely make yourself like versatile.
Yeah.
You know, I'm DJing. I DJ weddings. I'm booked every Saturday from now until the end of November.
Oh my God.
I DJ weddings. That's it. It's not, you know, it's just.
It's part of your gig. It's part of what you do to help
Yeah.
pay the bills, to help create that energy drive, to keep that creativity in your mind, and that's the next way to express it.
Yeah, but that helps me a lot with, so I like pull up to a gig with a trunk full of equipment and load in everything myself, do lighting, run sound, make sure mics are good. You know, I DJ as well, you know, and then I can take that and apply it to Raz's performance.
Yes.
Or Twin Rova's performance. I'm, you know, so when you kind of diversify yourself, you are able to take that thing that you learned and put it into another thing that you don't know much about.
Transferable skills.
Transferable.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I agree with that so much. Once you find, okay, maybe now, like, and this, I was thinking about this on the way here. I was like, I got to get Crawford to teach me the board for this show. Because the other week he wasn't here, and it was a pain in the guns to get someone to figure out to get on the go. I'm like, why don't I just learn that?
Yeah.
But then if I need to do
100%.
this one, perhaps there will be a different show at a different station with no Crawford that I can
Where you
actually
can learn and
now
you
I
can
can
be
fit a bigger
doing.
shoe, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Which is awesome, man. I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. Become versatile is how you said it, and I love that, dude. Okay. We're going to a music break. Dom's been eyeing me up for a little while. I believe we're at Want You Back by Taabu. We also got voicemail by Stacia Daniels. Check us out at CFRE. This is DriveWire. Thanks for tuning in. Yo, what is up? We're going to a summary. Dom's been giving me those Italian eyes telling me to get off the air. We gotta go. We gotta get out of here. It's 6:20. We've wasted everybody's time. We're
No
20 minutes
wasted
late.
time,
Just
only
kidding.
time learning.
This has been really cool. We actually decided to extend it mid-show because Taabu was giving us so much ridiculous
So much
cool stuff.
information.
I have
Sorry.
like a page
Never
and a half, 2
apologize,
pages
brother.
of notes. Maybe
It's
we'll
only
put,
good.
we could put the notes on the social too. Just show people what we're learning
Just
from
some
these
pictures,
guests. Yeah,
maybe.
just like literally just the notebook.
Yeah.
This is the notebook of only notes on guests or from guests, which
This
is
guy's
sweet.
a goddamn note taker.
Book
Note
says
taker here.
book says plans for world domination on it,
I mean, like every
yeah.
secret.
and then just quotes from me.
It's listen, man. You quadrupled in 3 years. If we could do that a couple times in a row here, we'd be doing all right.
We'd be
So
all
That's
right.
crazy.
listen, man. Like, okay, shout out to Greg Santilli. He never doubted. You didn't say it like this, but I'm going to. The benefit
That's cool.
of someone who believes, man.
do support, belief.
So
Yeah.
this was someone who you're like, he never doubted me. I love that, man. I had a couple people like that. Mom and dad were a couple people like that. There were a couple there were also people who doubted me, which I think was actually equally important in my journey, but I'll talk about that another time.
All good with that.
You said, didn't matter that I was even good. Man, anything worth doing?
At the start.
Right.
At the start, at the start.
You're an incredible performer now.
Anything worth doing well eventually is worth doing poorly at first.
For sure.
Yeah.
Every
For
single
sure.
thing, and you will get better. It's like literally a law of the universe. If you keep doing it, you're going to
just
get
get better.
better.
Yep.
You're going to, I promise. Okay, use feedback to gauge your progress. I wanted to ask you, do you ever get negative feedback on purpose?
Yes.
What don't you like? You ask that question a lot.
I love that. I love hearing what people would do differently with my stuff.
Like, what would you change about it? How would you do it instead?
Yeah.
What do you want to hear? Those alternate realities of what could be, or want to hear the different perspectives?
What's
Yeah.
the best answer you've got so far? Just one example of when you asked that and you were like, whoa!
Never
That's
thought
way
of it
better
like
than my
that.
idea.
I would say, oh man.
I know.
Carter loves to put people on the spot,
a
but that's
huge
the
question.
best
That's crazy.
questions. It's the best questions.
I'm trying to think like
Okay.
like feedback.
You
I
mull
think
on that. You mull on that.
Yeah.
I'm
Let's
gonna
go.
go
Yeah.
through
Keep
this 'cause
going
there's
over
a
the
lot,
list.
man. So
Okay.
huge thing that you did, which was cool, and you said this at the end. You said become versatile, but you picked up more skills, whether it was recording. You also did. I put MIDI, but it's not MIDI. So you did this like record one note at a time, basic.
It's like sampling. It's
figure out
literally
yourself
sampling.
Sampling version, yeah. Like, but you did it yourself, and it's funny because in between you were like, dude, I didn't even know what MIDI was. But that's the point. You started with nothing. I love that, man. Then you got into Ableton. You started expanding your skills. You got into, you said like DJing, performing. Now I'm doing also like production, and I'm mastering, and I'm mixing. All of these things. I love that. The way you got into it at first. Curiosity. You mentioned it like really briefly, but it's huge. The power of curiosity and wanting to know. You're like, I just wanted to know the difference between these songs that were doing well and what I would like. Do you know what the people around me were making? Why weren't these going huge?
Why weren't these getting huge?
And it seems like you're kind of on the right path. Success leaves clues. I love that you experienced pushback and you went through it, man. You experienced the border bullies, the people who said no, the people who said like horribly enough, like kill yourself, like that's awful. But here you are and you didn't, which thank you for not.
Thank you for not.
But
Yeah.
them people.
but
No
as you
problem. I mean,
did it not on some level give you a like, well, just shoulder up, spiny back, like I'm doing this, man.
Bucked
like I
up.
want to, you know what I mean? Like you push yourself a little harder. So but you went through it, right? You grew through grow through what you go through is how I like to say it. Like, it doesn't work if you do it in the past tense, but grow through what you go through.
Yeah.
You got bigger when it went through. Okay, you said you don't make beats, you make songs.
yeah.
What I like about that is that came back again, where you said like people sometimes don't have the integrity with the finished product. You didn't say all beat makers, but you specifically were like, look, some people just want to sell you the beat just to get your money. But I love that you showed empathy, a higher level of empathy for, look, I don't want to just be your guy who gives you a tune.
I don't want to take your money.
I want to work with you to create something, and then I want money because I deserve it at that point, which I love, man, dude. I believe that's one of the reasons why people would recommend you and want you back is because you're not just there for the cash.
You value your performance, you
Yes, I
value your
deserve
work,
to
you
be
value
paid.
yourself.
Yes, I deserve to be paid, but I'm actually here to create with you, the artist. Which is, I love that, man. That's the product that you talked about. You're like, hey, how do you grow this thing? And I'm going to really butcher this, but I love the way you said it, and we have it recorded. It's going to be out there. We're going to cut it just like literally a 7-second cut of how you said it. But it was like, if you can deliver a timely, properly done, already established product to help them bring their dreams alive as far as music goes, people will pay for that. And I love that you've been doing that piecemeal to be able to eat. Become versatile. And then the last couple, you lift those around you by educating those people, and you do that by taking a genuine interest in them.
Yes,
so
huge.
This came up every single person we've talked to so far, and I would put money on the fact it'll come up in every single one of them. The people who are showing success are showing genuine interest in the people around them. Every single person. So what's cool about that? Look, how many people do you know that are selfish? Probably a lot.
There's a lot of selfish people.
Well, it's a vast majority. Most people are narcissists and
they only care about themselves if they can benefit.
But if you could be the 1 in a million who cares about you enough that, look, man, just pay me a couple $100. I know you're at the very beginning. Let me actually make this awesome, and it's way more than you could have got $200 for
Let me give you a $2,000 production for $200.
When that person comes back to you and they're actually an established middle-of-the-road artist and they have the cash to be able to do a large one, they're coming to you because you'll be able to give them 5 Gs for 1 G later.
Yeah.
And it comes down to having an interest in where they are and lifting them by educating them. I don't know if you know you even do that, but you do that. You mentioned it a couple times, and I wanted to give it back to you because it's a huge strength that you have. It's not even a musical one. It's just like you intuitively know where they're at. You give them advice for where they're at that actually enables them to go up. And then as they grow up, quote unquote, grow up, they can like then come to you with bigger demands and higher skill level for you to then earn later with them, create with them, not compete with them.
For
more
sure.
Money later, which is cool.
Yeah.
Dude, all
Set
those
a best back.
I mean,
I learned. That's just me kind of like putting a mirror. I love that, man. Like I learned a lot from this episode, and thanks so much.
Cool.
There's just so much informative information that was within here. A lot coming up within the next couple of weeks, even here. You want me to read it? Well, first, honestly, let's give you a chance here, Taabu, I should say. You have a show coming up here next week with Raz.
Yeah, performing.
Give
you want to know about it?
You want to
hear about it?
We definitely want to know about it.
I'm performing. Jeez, I'm terrible today. Performing with Raz in Nathan Phillips Square on Friday. That is the 24th. We'll be on stage around 9 p.m. So come through. It's we're performing for Fast and the Six. Thanks to Sound Drive Records for hooking us up with that opportunity. And guys, just thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and you know, I hope I get to come back soon.
Heck yeah,
wouldn't have it
man,
any
I
other way,
love
bro.
that.
Sweet,
It would
sweet.
be cool to get several of the artists that all know each other as like a group in
Oh,
to
my
kind of get
goodness.
the vibe going on that too. I think that would be awesome. All right, Dom's
CF
been telling me
he's-
for like an
let's
hour
go,
and a half.
let's
He's
go.
like,
No.
come on, man. He's got the Italian hands going and everything. Okay, so... All right, CFRE Radio is presenting the ability to win tickets to Comic-Con in Niagara Falls. For you and a friend, 2 tickets. Follow us, CFRE Radio, for details on social.
it's
I'm
a
talking
huge show,
Twitter,
people.
I'm talking Insta, I'm talking Facebook, I'm talking YouTube. CFRE Radio, at CFRE Radio. Check it out. Comic-Con, Niagara. What's the date? It wasn't on the...
Wasn't on the page. You'll have to look online. Niagara Falls, Comic-Con, Undertaker.
Check us out
Check
at
us
CFRE
out.
Radio. The deets will be there. Dom's making sure. Thank you so much for checking in. Thank you so much for going a little bit of extra time. We got a couple more songs coming up. I'm not sure what they are. Check us out next week. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for listening, CFRE.
I'm way up, nobody can blow my high. Sipping white wine on a westbound